I don't know what number you're expecting for like a settlement. It's not like we'll ever know the number, especially if they settle, out of court. But like, this isn't like, I don't think this is the tipping point. I think we're just getting started.
Oh, definitely.
So I'm like, when you say all that, I'm like, yeah, that's like, it doesn't end on 18 allegations. If shit gets thrown out,
16.
It's 16. But they'll throw a charge per individual person and then throw 2 extra charges as a group. So, like, and he's black in America. So you already know there's going to be extra charges. Win, lose, or draw. Good or bad. Whether he did it or he didn't. There's going to be harsh charges. But what I'm saying is, I'm only suspending what I think happened as far as this dude has had A-plus character his whole life from everyone around him. I can't just throw away his character based off accusations. You have to let the legal process play out, and then have your opinion of him going forward.
Bro, maybe 10 years ago, that would be
nah, bro. Because I mean, white is white. What about? What?
Is he there?
Damn, P got robbed.
Like,
oh, there he is. Driving.
What I'm saying is, like, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you.
What I'm saying is, like, 10 years ago, okay, you could say that, but that's exactly what people said about Cosby. That's exactly what people said about Weinstein. That's exactly what people have said about all these people. Oh, they're great. Oh, they've done this for me. Oh, they've done that for that. Well, guess what? 2 things can be true, bro. 2 things can be true. You can have outstanding character publicly, and then as soon as you get into a room with a woman, you just think you fucking run shit, and you get whatever the fuck you want. 2 things can be true.
I agree, but it sounds like you already have your mind made up.
I don't have my mind made up. I'm just saying, bro, if 18 people say something about anybody, that's a lot of people, bro. That's not normal shit.
Nah, actually, it's pretty easy to get a bunch of people to just say some shit about you that ain't true. Or might be partially true. It's not that hard to do. Like, high school is a perfect example of that. How many times did somebody get? How many times did a girl get labeled? How many times did a girl get labeled the school slut in high school, and she was still a fucking virgin? How many times did that one kid everybody thought was going to be like, he thought he was a thug or whatever?
This is in high school,
bro.
You're talking about something totally different.
You act as if the average person watching this is an established, competent adult.
An adolescent community to somebody, to a fucking sexual allegation that runs across 3 different states. Totally different, bro.
I'm only talking about the underlying issues that kind of go with something like this.
But even if they did, okay, pay people to lie about Deshaun Watson, how did they find out that he gave him a massage?
Do they have receipts?
How did the lawyers get it to pay them to bring up this fraudulent case?
Yeah. 28.
That's why it's like, bro, I get it. Like, yeah, maybe it's not all true. Maybe there's a few who are trying to get it back, bro. But 16 is a lot, bro. And this dude is not a fucking clown. This dude plays to fucking win, and he's won against people a lot bigger than fucking Deshaun Watson. You're talking about $100 billion corporations that he's taken down and gotten hundreds of millions of dollars in settlements for.
We'll see.
But that's
I'm not going to pick a winner or a loser yet. I'm just
talk about the credibility. Even when you talk about the credibility of the victims, okay,
we
fine.
don't know them. We don't
But
even know any
You
of
also have
them,
to talk about the credibility of what we do know.
which is very little. You actually know very little.
But yeah, because it's all under investigation. That's why we know very little.
Which is what I'm saying. Because if more information comes out, are you going to change your mind, or are you just leaning heavily towards, no, 18 people said you did it, so you did it? I can show you in history where just because somebody said you did something, don't mean you necessarily did it. Like, that's a crazy...
And the same thing.
That's some crazy shit to do.
The other way.
It does.
Just because your charges get dropped doesn't mean you didn't do it, right?
Technically, legally,
I mean,
no.
You just brought up fucking Bob Kraft.
I know. I'm saying
okay.
It's
that's
not.
what
I'm
saying.
telling you, it's not black and white.
So even if the criminal charges don't go anywhere or they get dropped,
I told you his name is stained forever. I already told you that. I said that like 5 minutes ago.
How do you prove? Because how do you prove?
You can't prove a negative.
One. You can't prove it.
You can't disprove. I forget. It's a saying. You either can't prove a negative or some shit like that. I don't know. You can't prove that I'm not gonna not do something, or whatever the fuck. You can't prove that I'm not capable of doing something, or however that goes.
And honestly, I mean, it probably won't. I really don't foresee it getting that far. I'm sure it'll come down to a settlement.
A lot of money.
Yeah. Well, anyway, on to free agency. It's gonna be a while before we talk about this again because nobody knows shit yet. So anyway, to quote Clubhouse, I'm just gonna reset the room.
Oh man! Hey!
New free agency.
Really, Pete? Jesus. Damn, Pete. Are you really is your chemistry that off when you're not in the studio? I assumed he was just, I gave him the floor to lead in and he just dead ass silent.
Oh, is that what that was?
Why do you think there was dead air and it was totally quiet, bro?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't get that from that.
This is why I cut him off, just so he knows I'm still here.
A lot of shit happened in free agency this week. My phone's not loading, so yeah.
Well, Malcolm Butler signed with the Cardinals. I thought that was kind of a good one.
Yep, former Tennessee Titan. Since they lost Patrick Peterson, they need another corner. Dory Jackson, the New York Giants, killing it. They got Kenny Galladay, the receiver. They also got.
Did they overpay for him?
Nah.
I mean,
he won $18 million a year.
I just feel like that's a lot, but I mean, at the same time, he was in Detroit. I mean,
nah, they overpaid.
I think they overpaid if they keep him all 4 years. I feel like that contract's only going to be good value-wise for about 2.5 years. He's either going to be a bust his first year or a bust 2 years from now. But realistically, that contract's only good for 2 years, in my opinion. For what they're expecting to get back offensively, I don't see much there. I wouldn't have paid him that much, but I'm never going to hate on the man getting his money.
I mean, they could arguably, the Giants could arguably be contenders for that division. I mean, any team in that division could be contenders for that division. But again, it's Saquon Barkley back as well, and then you still got Daniel Jones. Is Daniel Jones really gonna outdo Dak and Dallas or anything? Or who's the Washington quarterback right now? Fitzmagic?
Yeah.
And all I say is this, man. I love Adoree Jackson and Leonard Williams, individually. Well, come on, bro. You're about to pay those two dudes $40 million between the two of them, a fifth of your cap between two guys who didn't even win anything at USC.
Ouch.
You just had to slip that one.
You just had to say that. He's just mad because he knows I'm going to flame UCLA.
And they had a loaded team. And now what? They're going to be your two pillars of the defense? Good luck.
I mean, the secondary isn't that bad. That's a young, athletic secondary. What?
You're Kenny of Troy. You can't even argue with that.
I mean, Trojans in the NFL usually do good on the Giants. Historically. Steve Smith, Terrell Thomas, Leonard Williams had a breakout year. Adoree should be pretty good. Adoree could have been so much better from a technique standpoint had he probably gone to LSU. But he made a sacrifice and stayed home. But man, it's upsetting when you see all this talent coming out of USC and it's like, bro, how are y'all not more developed? Like, Alabama's out here just cranking them out every year. That's coaching. That's coaching. That's culture.
Well, I was going to say, my notes are ready, so I can go more into it.
Let's do it.
They loaded. All right, so other shit that happened this week.
Deshaun Jackson.
The Eagles signed Joe Flacco to a 1-year deal. He'll be backing up Jalen Hurts. James White returns to the Pats on a 1-year, $2 million deal. 3-time Super Bowl champion running back. Damien Williams signed with Eric's Bears, man. I actually really like that signing for them.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Williams was he should have been the MVP of the Super Bowl, and now he has a year of rested legs. They like to run the ball there. They've got some other backs there, so he won't have to carry the full load. I like that move.
Now, if we just get some offensive linemen.
The Colts re-signed T.Y. Hilton, 1-year, $10 million deal. Good for Hilton. He's, 32? So it's probably his last time making double digits. But, hey, better to do it in Indy than anywhere else. Moving on. The Broncos brought back Kareem Jackson, veteran safety corner. We already talked about the Chiefs. Patrick Peterson signed with the Vikings, which for 1 year, $10 million. Which I was like, bro, don't you want to win a ring? Like, aren't you tired of losing? But hey, man, money talks. Geno Atkins.
I was going to just say, at that point of his career, I think that's just a lot. That's a good amount of money for Patrick Peterson because he got $10 million?
$10 million straight from the Vikings.
He's 32. I mean, I think he could have. Bro, I would rather go to
Green Bay.
Green Bay for $6 million. What they gave Kevin King, who re-signed with Green Bay.
How did Kevin King got $6 million?
He had a good 2018 season or 2019 season.
Bro, he had a terrible playoff.
Yeah. True.
A terrible play. Bro, I would have said Patrick Peterson, let me get that. Kevin King, you can go get that $100 million, just not in Green Bay.
Malik Jackson signed with the Browns. Cowboys signed Keanu Neal as a linebacker.
That's his old defensive coordinator, too, from back in Atlanta.
Yep. Or head coach, Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
Broncos signed Kyle Fuller, former Chicago Bear, for a 1-year, $9.5 million deal. Which, again, I feel like that was a little bit less than him considering what Adoree and Patrick Peterson got, but whatever. Xavier Rhodes returns to the Colts. Sheldon Rankin signed a 2-year, $17 million deal to go to the Jets, who are also trying to trade C.J. Mosley. Sammy Watkins and the Ravens are in talks. Mike Davis signed with the Falcons for 2 years and $5.5 million, which I feel like is actually a good spot for them because they really don't have a starting back right now. And Davis came on strong for the Panthers when McCaffrey went down. And yeah, I mean, I think that's about it for the big moves that kind of happened this week. Kenny, any ones you want to comment on?
Deshaun Jackson to the Chargers.
To the
Rams.
$4.5 million.
That's a win. He finished his career out in L.A., where he's from.